Is this your first novel, or have you been published before?
Yes and no. It is my first published novel. It's not the first novel I've written, and it's not the first book that I've had published, although I've never had my name on the cover before. It was always projects, work for hire, basically.
Yep. Okay. You've obviously read a lot of books, and maybe even books about how to write. Would that be the case?
Yes, pretty much. I've read some writing advice books which all tend to boil down to one major piece of advice, which is keep writing. Read a lot, write a lot. Toss out what doesn't work, and eventually you'll have written something that does work if you've got any ability at all, just through sheer perseverance. And that seems to be the major piece of writing advice that there is. But what perhaps City of Masks arose from is a lot of reading of mostly fantasy and science fiction, even though it's not actually fantasy or science fiction by a strict definition.
What is its strict definition?
Genre? You could call it slipstream.
Okay.
That's a fiction designation that's around that most people haven't heard of, which makes it a bit less useful, but it's somewhere in between mainstream fiction and kind of a fantasy science fiction sort of thing, in that it has elements of the fantastic or the counterfactual, as City of Masks does. It's a city where everybody is required by law to wear masks. It's a what if, and yet there's no magic, there's no advanced technology. It's not an alternate history in any strict sense. It's not an alternate Venice, for example. No canals in the City of Masks.
Okay. Just highways?
Just highways.
Yeah.
Highways and low-ways.
That's right. It's intriguing. Yeah. It creates a nice picture as well. It creates a picture of there being, lots of levels to the whole city.
Yeah, and the city is very class stratified as well. But the lowest people are on the lowest roads and the highest people are on the highest roads, and they only mix in the middle. And it's the same thing with the houses. The poor live in the bottom of the houses and the rich live on the top of the houses.
Right, yeah. Unless they fall from the top to the bottom. How long did it take you to write the novel?
Well, from start to finish 10 years, but the last part was done very quickly. I sat down over a period of about a week and wrote probably the last, I'm not sure how much, the last 10 or 15,000 words anyway. And the problem was that I got stuck after I'd got the main character to the location. And now what happens? I didn't know. I didn't know what was going to happen. I knew that there was going to be a chase across the rooftops, probably with the shooting of arrows and a sword fight. I knew that. I didn't know who was chasing whom or why, but I knew that that was in there. And what I ended up doing was I charted out all of the characters and their relationships with each other and what they wanted on a big piece of paper like a mind map. And the plot really fell out of that once I had it all down in that format. I could see this person wants this thing that's going to lead to certain events, this other person wants this other thing, there's conflict there. It just seemed to develop out of that, but unfortunately I didn't have that idea for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. The idea of joining everything together.
The idea of mapping it all out like that.
Right. So you didn't start with a grand map.
No.
And then join it all up in words.
No. No, I started with an idea about what would it be like if everybody had to wear masks that told people who they were.
Mm. That was your base idea.
That was my base idea.
Yeah.
And from that, which is kind of I suppose it's kind of a metaphor or satire on our society, which we all do go around wearing masks that tell other people who we are, and pretending to be people that we aren't, or pretending to be people that we are sometimes. Yeah. And I just wanted to explore that, but it ended up as an adventure story and a mystery.
Right. You didn't tend to write a novel, though, didn't you?
I didn't tend to write a novel, like an essay.
And you just said we go around wearing masks, pretending to be who we are.
Yes.
Is it possible to pretend to be who you are?
Yes, there's actually a book which I came across after I finished, or as I was finishing writing Silly Masks, called The Woman Who Pretended to Be Who She Was. It's a non-fiction book, and I quite like that idea that if you're true to yourself, if you're authentic and genuine in expressing yourself, that you end up with a mask of your own face. And there is no difference between what you're presenting and what is actually inside.